Tony from CassetteComeback.com. So if you've come to this video because it showed up on your suggested video feed and you thought, meh, I've got nothing better to do, I'm going to have a look at this, then be prepared now for about 5 to 6 minutes of seeing this black bit, maybe with my hands, because I'm going to have a little chat before I get into the meat of this video. So if you need something to amuse yourself with and you're not really into cassettes, then trot on a few minutes. Just hit the bar at the bottom and trot on a few minutes, because there's some things I want to discuss. Now, the first thing I want to discuss is this has been cropping up more and more lately in the groups and in the forums. And we see this all the time, and I've spoke about this again, but I'm going to speak about it again because I want this sort of to get through, because I'm sick of hearing this. We have two things that keep cropping up, and these two things are completely contradictory, but they happen all the time. One, we get people, usually people who are new to the hobby, going, there's no new Type 2s, I want to buy some quality Type 2s, I want some quality cassette decks, why don't they make them anymore? And then on the other side of this, the second thing that we see all the time is, oh, it's too expensive, cassettes are too expensive, well, everything's too expensive, the decks are getting stupid. Can you see this? On the one hand, we will have, and they're there, people in the industry, they look at forums, they look at Facebook groups, and they're reading, on the one hand, people are wanting brand new decks and brand new tapes, and on the other hand, they want them dirt cheap because everything's too expensive right now. Can you see why there's a problem here? Can you see what is going on? You know, this is contradictory, and you can't say on the one hand you want brand new great stuff and on the other hand I don't want to pay for it. That's why this isn't happening. And to sort of get back to it all about cassettes, you know, and this is going somewhere, bear with me. The thing about cassettes is that recording media on the whole was, you know, developed for two reasons. One, recording studios wanted something to record the music on, and two, after they'd recorded the music, they wanted something to sell it on so that we could listen to it. Now, in the age of digital streaming, they've got the panacea. They record digitally and they sell it digitally, be it through something like iTunes or be it through streaming. They don't need now to create physical media and then ship the media, create packaging for the media, and let the media sit on shelves somewhere and maybe it'll sell. They don't need that anymore. It's all digital. And although there is a niche market that does want recorded media, and indeed there are some studios that are longing for, you know, reel-to-reel decks now, this is niche. The main reason any of the recorded media was developed was simply to sell music, and now they've got the perfect way to sell music, which is digitally. There's no impetus from the record companies to create new media, apart from niche. And I mean, even if we look at someone like Universal Music, what they do is they just get knacked to rattle off a couple of thousand copies of an old album just because it's trendy, it's in the media, so they rattle it off. But I can't see them ever being there to create brand new recording media again or bring it back. And I know the name of this channel is Cassette Comeback, but that was a nice easy thing, you know, for when you're Googling. People Google Cassette Comeback, so, well, hey, that's why I chose it. But I don't think the emphasis is there, except in the niche market. There will always be a niche market for this. And this gets me on to this next bit. A lot of people say, why is there a niche market and why do you bother with cassettes? Now, I'm going to show you some things, and these things are some of the most precious things that I own. Okay? What in the Sam Hill are these? Well, these came with things like this and this. Now, if you look at this world of fake news, this world of constant war in the news and, oh, toxic masculinity. Yeah, toxic masculinity, right? Toxic masculinity. all of these things here have come from guys I've never met in person. I've never even spoke to some of these guys in person. But they took the time to go out, to create something, to spend hours doing it, to put it on something that isn't cheap. I mean, you know, look at this one. This is from you, Nando. Thank you very much. I love this album, Nando. Nando sent me this from Canada. And, you know, this is on a Pioneer M1 metal. This is not a cheap cassette. This costs, you know, you could buy an MP3 player cheaper than you could buy this cassette. And you could certainly buy a memory stick for cheaper than you could buy this cassette. But the thing is, these are, you know, I do the same, you know, I mean, it's not one way street. I mean, you know, this is going to a friend in Mexico because, you know, I thought I'd give him best of British stuff, and this is going to another friend who likes trance stuff, and I thought I'd do it in the style of the Nintendo Entertainment System. And this one's, I do these constantly. Certain people get them. I collect the best tunes of each quarter of the year, and this is April to June, which is done in the style of a Sega Mega Drive case. And I do these for people. And the thing is, where else in this world do you see guys that don't know each other taking time, spending hours to hand make something, you know, and right, this is from you, Laurie. These are great, Laurie. Thank you so much for these. You know, Laurie did me this one as well. And, you know, to spend the time to buy expensive cassettes, because these are good cassettes, to record, and before they record, to think about what this person wants to hear. So these are, oh sorry Graham, I've got to mention you, this is from you, Graham, and this is the meat of this video coming up, and this one's from you, George. I mean, look at this one from George, beautifully done. Look at that. It's on a That's VX, you know what I mean? And this is why cassettes are special. Where else in this world do you find men that don't know each other taking time to think, then spend hours to record, and then make J-cards or write J-cards, write little messages and send little cards to each other, you know, to strangers? Where else do you find this in this world? This sort of stuff gives me hope. These are strangers, people sending to each other because sometimes you feel down and they send you a mixtape to make you feel better. Sometimes they send you a mixtape because they like you and they want to be friends. Where else do you find this? You ain't going to get this in streaming. Hi, here's a little playlist I did. Ping. So you want to know why we like cassettes? This is one of the main reasons why. It brings people together. We have little communities, and these are communities that ultimately, even though it's around recording media means nothing without the music. We have our little communities around music where we can talk, we can share, and we can be friends. And in all these days of, like I say, so many labels, it's just refreshing and lovely to know that stuff like this goes on, because this takes time, this means something. These are treasured things to me. Treasured things, and this, you know, I mean, this might sound sad, and a lot of people say, oh, shut up, Tony, but I have money. I have money in the bank, and you know what? There's nothing I actually really want to buy. There's nothing new out there. When I go shopping, there's nothing I really want to buy. I don't want to buy a Bluetooth speaker. I don't want to buy another crappy bloody, you know, smartphone or another Bluetooth headset or, you know, clothes shopping. I buy clothes. But what I'm saying is, these actually mean something. And that's why cassettes and physical media might have a comeback. Because even though the record companies don't actually want this and aren't interested in this because there isn't enough profit for them, who cares? The road of the future is always paved by the amateur. And I'm just going to pause it for a second now, because if this is a cold caller, I'm going to rip their bloody head off. Bear with me. No, I wasn't involved in an accident that wasn't my fault. Thank you. Oh, terrible. Anyway, couldn't come at a worse time. But like I'm saying, yeah. So the wild card is that the path of the future is always paved by the amateur. And who cares if this isn't mainstream again? Who really cares? I mean, if small people do it, small businesses do it, and a small amount of people do it, and it's as magical as this, then that's okay with me. I mean, let's be honest here. Would we be interested? Would we be in groups if these were readily available on the street, cheap as chips, and there were thousands and thousands? I mean, in my Facebook groups, I'm going to restrict how many people can join. I only need so many. And then once it's joined, it's a one in, one out. And the one out will be, I will look down the list and see if there's names that I don't recognise or names I've never seen interact. Because, like everything, if this became mass market again, would it be a special? Because although these are part of our youth, they seem special now. But when we were young and walking into a chain store and buying a 10 brick of Type 2, did that feel ultra special? You know, I mean, it might have done if, you know, you were young and you had no money. But if you were a guy who was earning a regular wage, you know, did it feel extra special to go in there? And did, when you were down at the pub later, did you speak to your friends and say, hey, I just got myself 10 USAs today? And they'd look at it if you're funny. So don't try and hope that it's going to be mass market again. Don't try and will new stuff. Just accept it for what it is and love it for what it is. Because if it did become mass market again, if it did become cheap, it wouldn't be a special, because nothing worthwhile is ever cheap. And that's just the way you got to look at it. So, okay, back to the meat of this. So let me just get rid of these wonderful treasures and stack them. And it's strange that they are treasures. Wonderful treasures. Let's get back into the meat of this, because I thought, well, I'm going to start off. Let's make an indulgent video. A video of no real point to a lot of people, because these are known quantities, but I just wanted to do it. The Maxell MX 1985. Quite possibly my favourite cassette ever. Looks amazing, sounds amazing, built like a tank. But then, let's go a bit further. The Maxell XL2S from 1985. Gorgeous looking. However, gotta be honest, this is not my favourite XL2S when it comes to recording. This is a tricky tape to get the best out of. When you do, it sounds great, but it's tricky. However, this one isn't. This, again, absolute legend of a cassette. Absolutely love it. Just wonderful. The classic Maxell XL2. And then we go down again. I've already done a video on this one, but I just love this. The UD2. Do I like this more than the XL2? Maybe. Yes. I have good memories of this cassette. This just looks special. Look at it with the lovely gold foil sticker on there. And these were easy to live with in the XL2, because these, like I've said in a previous video, in fact I'll put it up here, bing, these were designed, I think, to compete with the SA. And then we have the Type 1 counterpart, the UD1, which I think could be my favourite. I'm not saying best, I'm saying my favourite Type 1 ever. And yeah, love this one. And then we start at the beginning with the Maxell UR. The first iteration of the UR. Yeah. The 1985 Maxell lineup. I know. There's two cassettes missing from this. The XL1 and the XL1S. And you know what? They're unicorns. I mean, basically, I've found any Maxell which isn't the entry-level ferric, i.e. the UR, the UL, and the UD, you know, your UDIs, your XLIs, your XLISs, you know, and all the variants. Anything which isn't the entry-level ferric for a Maxell is hard to find and expensive. They really are. And simply put, I've bought thousands and thousands of cassettes, mixed lots, collectors. I've never encountered a 1985 XL1, or I don't know if it's XL1 or XLI. I mean, that to me looks like an I, you know, as in Romans, but, you know, I wouldn't call that a UDII, so I guess I've got to be consistent. I'm going to call them UD1 and UD2, but I've never actually picked up an XL1 or an XL1S. And when they do crop up on eBay, they're usually in a Baltic state and they're crazy money. You know, they're like 100 and odd quid. So I don't have them simply because I'm sure, and from what I've read, at least the XL1S is possibly one of the greatest cassettes ever, but I simply haven't got one, and I'm simply not going to pay what they go for. I mean, there are ways and means. You know, I can see £70 in an MAR or an MAXG or an SAXG, or, you know, I don't see it in an XL1S purely because it's just rare. It's as simple as that. Yeah. But anyway, let's have a closer look at some of my favourites from the 85 range. Now, I'm not going to do any unwrapping today because A, they're so beautiful, and B, I already have these unwrapped because these are some of my go-to cassettes and I absolutely love them. I mean, we'll start at the top. The MX, I mean, it's just, right, the shell is nice. It's a nice tough shell, but it's all about this sticker. All about this sticker, and, you know, this goes to say a lot to me about people that are creating modern cassettes, and that really the people that are creating these new cassettes are businessmen, and usually young businessmen, because at the end of the day you can get a black C0 shell from Music Box. Get that black C0 shell and get some silver style stickers printed to stick on them here, and they look amazing. But they don't do it because they're just in it for the money, and yeah, that's why. But you could make a cassette that looks like... I've often thought if I could get some inkjet foil about seeing what it would look like. So yeah, the MX, I mean, like I say, it's just if you look at the difference between the regular is that if you look how this is sort of mottled, and that means it's a bit higher up, and the purple's just beautiful. So the camera, my camera, I'm just looking at the colours going a bit funny on it. It's like purple freaks my camera out, but yeah. The MX, one of the best sounding, best looking metals ever. And then the other ones is the XL2, like Graham sent me one on there. Now this one, if you look, it's not quite the mottled effect. This is just sort of like a stippled effect. So, whereas if you look at the XL2S, which I'm not unwrapping, that has a mottled effect in it, just to signify that it's a bit better than the other one. Like I say, there's different textures in these labels. So this one, yeah, this one, it's almost like sort of like a gold wood grain effect, if you can see it. But again, I mean, the cassettes get much more handsome and premium looking than that. And there is a version, this must be an earlier version, because there is a version which has sort of like a very dark grey shell as opposed to the black of this. But the XL2S from 85, sorry, the XL2 from 85, just one of my all-time favourites. I've used loads of these and they are quite superb. Then we go to the UD2, because if we look now, you know, just do a comparison, that is very shiny. That's just a straight gold mirror, whereas this one has that effect. So that sort of says this one is more premium than this one, even though the shells are the same, and performance wise, once they're dialed in, I think they're as good as each other. But this was the cheaper version. But that one back in there, put that one in there, and then this one. And I just think this is possibly one of the best looking cassettes ever. Again, this one's used and it's been used a bit, but it's still, look at it, that mirror finish with the blue. I mean, modern cassette manufacturers, stop just sticking it in a cheap clear case. Get a black case, get a nice silver mirror printed sticker on it, and you've got a gorgeous cassette. Now, I was chatting to an OG, and what do you mean by OG? Original gangster, that's what it means. But it means original. It was a guy who lived in New York, and he said to me, when I posted a picture of these, he said, when we were getting the copies straight out of the desk back in the mid-80s of all the, you know, the new R&B and the new dance that was coming out, they always came on this cassette. This was the cassette for rap, R&B and house music in the 80s in New York City, and that makes it extra cool. But it's a beautiful cassette that also is my preferred choice for bass heavy music. So let's see if these are all just looks or if they can back it up. So I'm not gonna waste time too much. I'm gonna record on the MX. I'm not going to do the UD2 because I've done a video on that. We're going to do the XL2 and we're going to do the UD1. I know, UD2, UD1, UDI. These are the three. We're going to put it into the Revox and we're going to have a listen to them. Oh yeah. Okay, so I've already put in the UD1, biased it up, and I've picked a tune from the YouTube royalty free library, which has got a bit of bass in it, because like I say, this is a cassette that likes bass, and I love the bass on this. So this is called RP. So let's have a listen. And I'm gonna have this peaking around +4. You know, that's pretty good for a 35-year-old ferric. Yeah, that sounded pretty good. Like I say, I wish I could use real music, because I'd like to have put something like a bit of Sugar Hill Gang on this, or perhaps a bit of Ice-T, but yeah, we can't do that, so we use what we can. So, and incidentally, I even looked into it. Even if I didn't monetize a video with adverts, you can't just use tunes willy-nilly on YouTube. You've got to check whether they can actually be used or not for YouTube purposes. Not everyone can. So, I've just realised now, and this is, you know, this is all about prep work, but I'm using this XL2, which is used, and the tabs have been snapped out. So I'll be back in a jiffy. Did you miss me? Right. Incidentally, you can get like little sticker sheets like this in like stationery shops, and I find they're just perfect for covering up the old holes. There we go. Not quite as gorgeous with a little white band-aid on, but it doesn't matter. Let's get this one biased up. And then we shall record some magicalness on it. I mean, just look at it. It just looks right. You know, it's amazing. It's just a sticker over a black shell. It's a nice black shell. It's a well-made black shell. I like the patterns. But at the end of the day, it's a sticker. But there we go. It's all biased up now. And that last one didn't peak at +4. It peaked at +2. But it sounded good enough to me. Right. Let's record this one now. And I'm going to record something called Dreaming of a New Day. yeah, just yeah. And now we go on to a tape, well, cassette, that is worthy of much better source material than I'm going to feed it now. But all the same, let's let it bias it up. Yeah, the 1985 MX just it's just wonderful in every way, and I'm going to record this a bit hotter than the other two. I've left them at +2 because I don't know, as I'm getting older, I'm not bothered about trying to record them that hot, because part of the reason I like, well, not like, part of the reason I love cassettes is that the cassettes, and they sound like cassettes, and if I wanted no hiss, I'd listen to something digital. So I don't record them particularly hot because I don't want them to distort, and the hiss really doesn't bother me. But this one I'm going to crank up a bit. I'm going to crank this maybe to +4, maybe to +6. But I've got a song now called Midnight, which I'm going to record on the 85 MX. You know what? Just bear with me 1 second. Let me zoom this damn camera out. That wasn't good enough. That wasn't good enough. That wasn't long enough. And that wasn't good enough. Right, bear with me 1 second. I'm going to find a song that a few of you have asked about, and it's in here somewhere. Where has it gone? Oh, you know something? All the best plans of mice and men. Here we go. I'm going to play you a song you're going to recognise. And yeah, this deserves a better song. This is about one of the best royalty-free songs I've heard. I've used it before. You'll recognise this song, but I want to play it on this MX. It deserves it. That track's called Synergy. You can find it in the YouTube royalty-free library, and it's fantastic. And it's the theme song to this channel, and I can't think of a better tape to showcase that than this. Is this, in my opinion, the best all-round cassette ever made? Possibly. It possibly is. Put it this way, if this was the only cassette I had access to, I'd be really annoyed because I love variety. However, if someone said to me, I need you to do me a duplication project of 100 cassettes and I want them to all be on this, I still wouldn't be bored at the end. This is truly a magnificent, magnificent cassette. So here's to the 1985 Maxell range, apart from the XL1 and XL1S. Truly, I believe, Maxell's finest range, in looks, in performance, and in the way that these are some of the toughest tapes I've ever used. I mean, the UD1 and the XL2 in that video, I both bought used with unknown, provenance. But didn't they sound good? Didn't they? And the Maxell MX90, just, yeah, it makes me sad. I mean, there's a guy out there, you know who you are, you're getting 5 of these off me, and it breaks my heart to send them to you, but I know you're going to love them, so I don't mind. But, yeah. So here is to the cassette. Here's to them being imperfect. Here's to them being expensive and treasured. Here's to them being hard work. Just like the best human beings. Hard work, you treasure them, and they're not perfect. Perfection is so boring. And here's to the mixtape. One of the last things around that are truly personal, truly take time and effort, and can truly mean something to the person who's getting them. So here's to cassettes. Forget about the price, forget about new ones, forget about the cassette almost. Concentrate on the people who you talk to, the new friends that you find, and the new joy that you can spread. All of this through an audio format that the enlightened money-making businessman think he's dead. Sodom. Their loss. Please like and subscribe. And until next time, happy taping. Bye bye. Oh, I know nada. Nearly. I just remembered about the mixtape. I also got another little present sent in the mail, which I just received earlier today from a guy called Ian Greenhouse, and he sent me a packet of baked crystals with this lovely note saying, "Thank you for the metal tapes. I thought these would come in handy for the videos." You know what, Ian? You're a funny bugger. Proper funny bugger. But I like it. I like it a lot. That's you see what I mean? Cassettes. Someone sends you a pack of bakes with a little message, and it's funny. And all this is through my love of cassettes. Yeah, amazing. I don't care about them coming back as long as I keep meeting people like you, Ian, you funny bugger. Right, we'll try that again. Please like and subscribe. And until next time, happy taping. Bye bye.